When you hear that bell, it's the championship rounds. Yours truly, King Amin of Essex, joined by my man. And this is the first, you got to get good sparring. I brought this guy in before. Bro, he taught me some things in the ring. I need him back. I need that work. I need that work so I can get to them championship rounds. You don't get to the championship rounds without good sparring. So I got Jay Hardcore to help me out. We're going to talk today about what else? Boxing. So Jay, how you doing, brother?
I can't complain, man. We're about to talk about something that I truly love. So right now, I'm in my good place right now. You know what I mean?
Well, a good place for us to start is tell them where everybody can find you on your social media and everywhere else. Tell people where they can find you.
Okay, I'm Jay Hardcore, Hardcore Boxing News. You can find me on Instagram at Hardcore Boxing News 50. Also, you can find me on Instagram. My regular one is Jay Hardcore. And you can also find me on YouTube at Hardcore Boxing News.
Awesome, awesome. So let's get right to it. Broner and Figueroa. This fight has been announced, I think, sometime in August. The return of Adrian Broner versus Brandon Figueroa. What you think, champ?
You know what? It's a fight that's been brewing for a long time because they're supposed to have been doing this maybe a year or two ago, and it fell through. And AB, man, no matter what, he's entertaining. Yeah. And why Showtime loves him. That's why he does a lot of ratings, because people want to see him win or people want to see him lose, just like how they did Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? So he's always in there. But I'm going to be truthfully honest. I think this kind of a crossroad for him this time. And then when you look at Figueroa, oh man, I remember when he first came out. He was a blazing cat, man. He came out with 100 punches around, and man, he just pressed him up against the ropes and got him out of there.
Remember him and Leo Santa Cruz kind of around the same time. They were just in terms of that fast come forward, 100 punches around kind of style. 100 punches around with little to no jab.
Which is crazy. Everything starts with the jab. So yeah, but Figueroa, man, it seemed like he kind of lost the passion, and he just didn't seem like the same guy anymore. So both of them need this win. They both need this win, and I lean toward Broner a little bit, because if that Figueroa come out of yesterday, he gonna press Broner in the corner, and Broner ain't gonna let his hands go. He's just gonna go into a defensive shell. You know what I mean? He might get flashbacks of Adrian of McDonough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, one thing about this fight, I think they're literally the same fighter. So talk about it being a crossroads in terms of the potential. Started off as big young talent on that PBC roster when that whole thing first jumped off. Broner, I think, is the more decorated, the more talented, if we talking about boxing ability. I think and had a lot more opportunities, to excel. And I think the association with Floyd kind of ruined his career. Because skill-wise, I don't think, whether or not the potential people saw, I don't think he was willing to work as hard as Floyd. So once he got aligned next to Floyd in that, it's kind of, he doomed himself. It was like Kobe aligning himself to Jordan, but the difference was Kobe worked as hard to try to be better than Jordan. He didn't just say, oh, he kind of hang his tongue like him. He hang his arms like him. So he just like him. Kobe took that in and internalized and said, yo, I ain't like him. I admire him, but I could be better than him. And Broner didn't necessarily grab the bull by the horn, so to speak. So, and then Figueroa, on the other hand, I think his heart outweighs his talent, and that's what's kept him in the game. Gatekeeper status is I don't even think that either of these fighters is appropriate for gatekeeper status. So I think whichever fighter loses, I'm not saying retire, but what is it worth after that if you lose this fight, you know? Not for me to question their heart, not for me to question their business, but what is it worth knowing that, you know, the excitement is enjoyable, but the long-term implications, if it's not worth the money or the time or the outcomes, you know? What you think?
I think you have an excellent analogy just now. I mean, when what you said about Figueroa, I liked a lot about how his heart outweighed his talent, and that can happen, man. And with him, I feel though that's a good analogy of what happened, you know. But having a good heart is great. Now you got to build on top of it, because I'm gonna tell you, you could be one of the baddest cats out here with your hands, but if you ain't got no heart, you're gonna crumble every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when we speak of heart, man, I hate to say it, and Broner, my man, I hope he hear this. I think Madonna took his. I really do. I think he really made his tail go between his legs, man. You know what I mean? And I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because I like the kid, man. I really like the kid. But, you know, remember when you go on the basketball court and you see some guys and you know they can't play, you call them self-check. Self-check. You ain't got to check him. Broner has put himself in there, not saying talent-wise, but he's self-checked because he does so much chaos to himself with the drinking and all the other shenanigans and everything. You know what I mean? And they say it's no such thing as bad publicity, but at one point you got to finally say, you know what? These cats are paying me millions of dollars to come out and fight 45 minutes. When do you smarten up and say, you know what? I better get out here and grab this bag and secure something for my future. And he has the talent to do that, man. The boy got hands. If he let him go, he'll crush a lot of people, man. But it seems like now it's all defense to him now.
And hopefully this fight for both fighters, it means as much to them as it means to us, because we definitely are rooting for somebody. Even and now what we see in a lot in boxing now, you can win by losing, right? Because Rolly, he's big talk. I don't want to, he's big talk, and he just lost, got knocked out, and still running his mouth. But you can win for losing nowadays. So I think that's sort of, if they show the heart with the talent, if Broner showed the heart with the discipline, I think these guys can get back in the game still, right?
I agree. I agree.
So let's talk about heart and talent, because I think, and this is your neck of the woods, if I'm right, I don't know how much time he spent in Baltimore, but I know his roots is in Baltimore. We talking his Jake Paul and Hasim Rahman Jr. fight. Rahman could be, and I'm suggesting, because his father said it, he's never been prepared. He's never been ready. So is it the heart? Is it the talent? Is it a combination? And because Jake Paul has put so much into it and keep putting so much into it, is it a 50-50 fight, or is it something different? Is this Jake Paul stepping into a real professional boxing stance? What we got here? Tell me. And keep it hardcore, please, because I see you keep it hardcore.
Yes, indeed. Hey, man, let me tell you something. Sometimes these fighter kids, they ain't got it. You know what I mean? Because they was brought up with that silver spoon, you know what I mean? And they're just trying to live in their father's shadow, you know? And I'm not saying that's what he's doing, but that's what I see. You know what I mean? And you got to get to a point in your life, if you're serious about this game, and say that your father was, you know, what he was, you got to step out of his shadow. And I like what his father said in the press conference. He didn't sugarcoat it. He said, my son wasn't prepared. You know what I mean? But I watched that last fight recently against Morrison. And and Rahman Jr. was winning. He was winning. He was using the jab. He was outboxing Morrison and everything. But when that fourth round came, another cat showed up. I don't know if he gassed out or he got scared because dude was bringing them bombs. But a new cat showed up in the fourth round. And I know this kid can fight. He can fight. He has an amateur pedigree. 100 fights?
Yeah.
100 amateur fights? That's a pedigree right
Yes,
there.
it is.
You learned a lot and you've seen a lot of different styles. And I watched him. He can fight. He definitely can fight. But I'm going to tell you what they did, though. His last fight was he came in at 224. He has to shrink down to 200 for the fight. We got 30 days to do that. You normally have 2 months for a fight. Okay. I mean, training wise, they normally train 8 to 10 months. Okay. I mean, not months, weeks. Forgive me, weeks. And if he was weighing 224 at his last fight, which was a couple of months ago, I'm pretty much sure he's about 235, 240 right now. And they put in a rehydration clause in it. So that means that he got to come to 200, but then can't go past 210. So what that tells you right now is he's in fat camp. You know what I mean? So that means he don't get a chance really to work on his skills like he needs to, because he's working on losing weight. And the people with Paul Smart, they know that. They know that for a fact. Now, hopefully, that last loss made him jump right back in the gym, and maybe he's still at 224 right now, and he got to lose 20 and then rehydrate up 10 more. Hopefully, that's what happened. But normally, heavyweights, man, they walk around easy. If he came in at 224, that was his shrink down weight.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I think he got the skills. Then you ask, is it a 50-50 fight?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it shouldn't be. Rahman should win this fight easy if the playing field was level. If he had the 2 months to get in shape, and they fought heavyweight, but they fighting cruiserweight. He agreed to it.
And not only that, this is where we're gonna get that work. This is where, you know, I'm gonna try to step around, and I'm gonna try to steer you a bit.
Right.
If Rahman was a disciplined fighter, like we talked about, if he stayed ready, so we didn't have to get ready, even as a heavyweight, if he kept himself between, and I'm not being unreasonable to say between 15 and 20 pounds of his fight weight, right? If he was if he was serious about it. Now, I understand the difference is Paul boy got all the money in the world. He done moved to Puerto Rico. He got Serrano involved. He bringing in Steve Cunningham. He got all this stuff going on. So he has more time to dedicate it. And again, this is what boxers do too, that advantage. Like you said, the people that's in your ear to make a boxer move, a kind of A-side move. I don't like that talk, but that's an A-side move. Get this guy, put that hydration clause in there. We know he caught him outside of camp. We know he fight at heavyweight. And you said it shouldn't be a 50-50 fight. But if Paul take it seriously or more serious than Rahman, why wouldn't it be a 50-50 fight?
I said it should be a 50-50 if Rahman came in at the weight, you know, like you said, training right now. Okay. But he's not, we don't know. Let me stop that. We don't know. But his father, if I got to go by what his father say, he been bluffing. That's basically what he said. My son been bluffing. So when he's saying that, he's saying he got more talent than what y'all see, but he bluffing. And when you bluffing in boxing, oh, it's going to show. That ring will make you show what you've been out there doing.
So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Is this still a bluff for Paul? Is he bluffing like, oh, I picked the real fighter, but I know I picked the guy that isn't? Or is this like, no, Rahman is that close and has the potential, and this could be the fight to where Paul somehow either gets challenged or exposed? Because we did see Woodley hurt him with a punch, and Woodley is a much smaller guy than Rahman.
Mm-hmm.
And Woodley, excuse me, Paul did admit that Rahman hurt him in sparring before. So, you know, I think, like you said, you taught me something different, man. I got to think about it. Rahman should be pulling away with this fight.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest. I got him for the win. I got him for the win because let me tell you something. He know what he got up against him right now. Meaning, I'm not even talking about Jake Paul. I'm talking the boxing community.
Yeah.
We all are behind him for him to win this fight. Do you know what happens for him if he wins this fight?
Doors open up.
Oh my goodness. First of all, he breaks the internet. That's how big Jake Paul is. He breaks the internet. Okay? He gets his name out there. Once your name is out there, people start saying, hey, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do that. But let me tell you something. If he loses this fight, the memes that's going to be out there for him being a true boxer, because everybody's been saying, fight somebody that's a real boxer. He's 12-1. Jake 5-0, and not really 5-0.
Yeah. So let me ask you, why does Jake Paul take this fight? Why does he take? Is he ready to just be a promoter now? Because you know he got Amanda Serrano on the undercard. Is he ready to just kind of like turn it over? Is this some kind of maneuver, or does he think that them clauses really tips the scales in his direction? Or
well, I'm gonna tell you, the kid got big heart for one. For two, he realizes about the weight thing. He knows that for a fact. He has youth on his side, you know. So I mean, he got some things for him, you know what I mean. And he hits like a bull, so it's always a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
And he's seen that last fight also. So he was like, you know what? And he's been in the ring with them. Now, what you call him said, hey, they made me fight southpaw, one-handed, this, that, and the other. But at the end of the sparring, he said that Jake Paul was jumping up on the turnbuckle. Like, you know, he just won a major fight. So that's telling me he was putting some hands on him, because you wouldn't do that if you just got beat up. You wouldn't be jumping on the turnbuckle if you just got beat up. Nah. So he obviously put some hands on him. Okay. So he's using all that as his motivation.
Hey.
Okay. So hopefully, like what you call him, like Rahman said, he was in there giving him just a little bit, you know, could help build his heart.
Yeah, I'm counting on it.
That's what makes this so exciting. We're going to see if Jake Paul get his ass whipped. Can you imagine him slayed out in the middle of the ring? It'll go back and they say, shoot, that's just like how Rahman was when Lennox Lewis knocked him out, or when he knocked Lennox Lewis out. Either way. You know what I mean? He has the name. Rahman Jr.
Yeah.
That's why I'm pulling for him. You know what I mean? That's why I'm pulling for him.
And you said it best. The whole boxing community. I appreciate what Jake Paul do for the business community of boxing with women's boxing and all that. But the whole boxing community is counting on Hasim Rahman Jr. Hasim Rahman Jr., we counting on you, man. You better do it though.
Every time he goes on Instagram and go live, I read the comments, and every comment say, knock him out. Knock him out. You know?
Speaking of knockouts, we saw a typically a brawler, knockout boxer kind of puncher call out definitely a guy who's known for knocking everybody out. If he win, he knock you out. I'm talking about Derek Chisora, heavyweight division. He just, and I don't want to say outboxed, but he boxed differently. He boxed differently against Pulev, and he called out Deontay Wilder. And the reason why he did it, despite his best senses, he said he wanted to fight the best of his era, and I find that so admirable. That's the only reason why I want to talk about it. What do you think about that fight or the prospects of that fight?
I'm gonna tell you, I love Derek Chisora, man. War Chisora, old Chisora. I love him, man. You know what I mean? Because he's a warrior. That's what I like about him. He's a warrior. He wants to fight. You know what I mean? And now financially he's secure, but he said he wants them big paydays now.
Yeah.
He said, and I understand that because he's in the twilight of his career now. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's do it. But Wilder is not the person you want to do that with. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because Wilder will hurt that guy, man. He will hurt him. I'm gonna be truthfully honest. I don't want to see that fight.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think Derek Chisora again. I love he old school, man. But if he wants to enjoy the fruits of his labor, Deontay Wilder is not the guy to fight. Maybe he could take his chances against Luis Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? If Luis Ortiz, but the way Ruiz Ortiz, one of those kind of guys.
And white.
Didn't they dance? So this would be the third fight between those guys, man. And as much as I follow both of them, I don't want to see that one.
Yeah, you know what? When you really think about it, yeah. But he wants a payday.
Yeah.
And the up and coming young dudes ain't gonna do it for him. He ain't gonna get paid. Some people were saying he should fight Dubois, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's still not a great payday.
No, I agree. Yeah, did you just while we still talking about heavyweights, Deontay Wilder coming back potentially, allegedly against Robert Helenius?
That's what you know what? And I believe that. You know why I believe it? Because Helenius was in his camp a few times. So I believe that could happen. Now, we know what will happen.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, when Wilder comes back, he needs a devastating knockout. He needs a devastating knockout. I mean, sleep, smelling salt, all that. Because that's all he needs for everybody to jump right back on the bandwagon.
I'm thinking about it now. You got the gears turning. What about Pulev? Pulev could use, it'd be two fighters coming off of a loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give it some time, let Pulev come back. It a different style of fight, and Pulev got a little bit of pop to him. Plus, he might want to box. Now, the only reason why I say that is when you say it, like the fight, that Wilder fight will be so exciting, especially in the UK, in like Wembley or something. It's so tailor-made, but it would be so quick. And again, I would be more concerned about Chisora's welfare, but for both of those fighters, I think spiritually, internally, knowing that that's his style, I think Wilder would come back to go to war. He always had that warrior cachet, so I think a war would entice him. You know what I'm saying? But Helenius is also a fighter that's more tailor-made for what Wilder does in terms of being able to figure out a guy that wants to box and might want to deliver his own power. But coming up against, it's only one man on the planet can walk through Wilder's power. And when I say walk through, I just mean survive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's funny is the guy that they're allegedly saying he's coming back to fight is what, 6? I think he's huge.
He's like 6'8", 6'7", 6'8".
Exactly. But the thing about it is, and he's white.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? If you close your eyes real quick, that's Tyson Fury. You see
Get
it?
Back.
Yeah, they just want to show you knocking dude out. Simple as that. That's just my, I get into that conspiracy shit.
No. If you can imagine when it, like I said, it'll do something for you. It'll do something for you. Like, you know what? Yeah, I still got it. They want to know if I still got it. Well, let's just jump in here right quick. Still got it. Does he have it at all? We got to talk about this weekend's action. Ryan Garcia, he been talking real greasy about Tank Davis. Let's keep it on Fortuna. He's got Javier Fortuna, a veteran Dominican fighter. Dominican fighters, they never seem to reach their full potential, as far as the diaspora, but good pedigree, and he's a veteran. And I think Ryan Garcia, despite the power, despite the power, and despite the speed, he's in for a tough task, because Fortuna, even though he's a little sloppy, I think he feels like he's up in there against an inexperienced fighter. No matter how popular Ryan is, he doesn't have that, top level opponent experience. So what do you think about this fight, man?
You know what? I like it. I've always loved Fortuna for the simple fact, man, he's a warrior too. I love me some warriors, man. This kid gonna give you everything he got, but anytime he gets up against the elite, he get washed.
Is Ryan elite though? Where you going with this? Show me something. Hit me. Show me a combination. Show me. Hit me.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna back off that just an inch. I'm not saying that Ryan's elite, okay? But he's good. He's good. He's fast, and he's getting better every time he fights. Every time I see him fight, he looks better. So I feel though that Ryan got all the goods. I think that chin might be a little suspect, but he has all the goods for sure. He's long. He got good reach. I mean, he got a good toolbox. Now, I don't know where the heart is, because every time he's about to get in a fight, he backs out. Now, I know they said he had some mental issues and everything, and I hope if that's the issue that he gets that level. You know what I mean? But the shenanigans he does, man. First you fighting Gervonta. Now you're not fighting Gervonta. Then you're fighting Devin. Then you're fighting Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao can't say, we haven't even talked to this kid.
Well, I'm gonna draw an interesting parallel.
Okay.
And I have to be objective, and I can honestly say, Ryan Garcia in some ways reminds me of Tank Davis. He reminds me of Gervonta. Remember in the beginning of Gervonta's career, we said, man, this boy got all the potential in the world. It's just some of the shenanigans. Remember being close to Broner, kind of seeing, being young. And we see that with Ryan. I think some of the issues Ryan, he maybe take advantage of the whole mental health excuse more than I care for, but I think a lot of what he does is out of being youthful. And I think that he has similar potential. I just feel like this is an opportunity for him to take that leap like Tank did. And I think Tank's fight, his leap was against Leo Santa Cruz. It was a good name opponent. Even the win over Pedraza was good, but Santa Cruz was the one where we saw him taking camp serious. We didn't hear about any issues on the scale, and we knew as far as being able to communicate with media a little bit more, he was trying to become that next level star. I think Ryan, and despite being associated with De La Hoya, who respectfully I don't think highly of, I think Ryan can, if he gets some consistency with trainers, get some consistency with fights and getting that experience, that fight will be a big fight. Him, Devin, Tank, he can put his name in that conversation. Now, he don't never talk about Shakur, and he know better than that. But I think that he can be, because Shakur ain't really talk about 135 and all that. But I think Ryan, if I'm honest, that he put the bullshit to the side and finally grow up. This could be his grow up fight. He could grow the fuck up, man. He need to grow up a little bit, and this could be it for him. He could have everybody eating their hat like, yeah, I was on some bullshit when I was young, but look at me now. I'm fighting more consistently, and I'm getting better consistently, and people are watching me get better consistently, and that's building me, and people they're validating all of the big talk from before, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I'm gonna be truthfully honest. This fight right here, Cattle puts him against Tank because they want PBC, Showtime, and Tank want this fight against Ryan Garcia. So this right here would be his debut to really get in that fight, to be truthfully honest, especially if he washes this kid. You know what I mean? He gets him out in 2 or 3 rounds, something like that. He gets him out in 2 or 3 rounds. Man, and a great knockout. Oh, yeah. They're going to be talking. And that's what they want. I mean, because they got a lot of followers. I don't know how that translates into sales. Stop.
Well, you know something?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do some quick matchmaking. If
Okay.
Ryan, now here's what I like. If he beats Fortuna, he don't even have to stop him. He just got to get better. He just got to look better, right? Technique wise. But give him Rolly. And remember, we talk about win for losing. Give him a Rolly, a big, strong dude that's going to talk shit with you and say you're not going to get, whether it's true or not, you're not going to get in the way of my rematch with Tank. Not you, Ryan. Give him Rolly, and if he get through Rolly, that Tank fight, you ain't even got to talk about no Devin or nobody else. You have the Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis fight if he does well against Fortuna and he beats Rolly. That's just my humble opinion.
And you know what? I love that. I would love that, you know, because that's just like when he fought somebody else that I think Tank fought. Or was that Haney? That might have been Haney. But yeah, that would be good. That'd be a good measuring stick. But I'm gonna be truthfully honest. I think they're gonna like, hey man, let's get this kid right now.
Right now.
Let's get him right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's get him right now before he changes his mind or anything, because he's really talking like he really wants to fight. And that's how he always sound. But hopefully, you know, because even Showtime mentioned it. You know, mentioned it the other day.
Espinoza, right?
He mentioned it the other day. So, you know, they talking. So he you know, and he's going to beat Fortuna. You know, he's going to beat him. But I want to knock out.
I think you're right, though, Jay. I think adding that Rolly fight, that's maybe too much, you know? And I may have thrown, like, that's what I'm saying. You need good sparring, man. You need good sparring because, you know, I'm out there, I'm hanging my punches out there too long. I'm not bringing them back. So you had to, why add another fight to it? Ain't that what we complaining about in the first place? So why add another scene?
Don't draw it out. Don't draw it out, man. You know what I mean? You know what they say, don't play with your food, right?
There you go.
Don't play with your food. You know what I mean? Let's get it done. Let's get it done. So I think it's gonna be a good fight as long as it lasts. You know what I mean? I'm for sure that Ryan's gonna win it. You know, and I hope once he wins it, he's in the middle of the ring, which I know he's gonna say, I want Tank next. I want Tank. You know what I mean? And they make it happen. They make it happen, you know? So I would love to see that.
Me too, man. And listen, man, on that note, as always, my pleasure, my brother, Jay Hardcore Boxing News 50. Listen, man, if you guys ain't up on it, whenever I'm lost and I ain't in the sauce and I just jump on the gram, sometimes you don't have time. We all want to be resourceful. Go to his page. Go to his page. If he ain't breaking it, you know, he's minutes behind, seconds behind. I'm telling you. And I got to have this brother back because we got to talk about this Charlo fight. And so maybe we'll jump on that next week. But right now, what I want you to do is let people know again where they can find you, all your platforms, and just give us some closing thoughts. And we up out of here.
Yeah, as I say, I'm on Instagram at Hardcore Boxing News 50. And also on YouTube at Hardcore Boxing News, man. And I love boxing. My first fight, as I said, that I seen was Muhammad Ali against Ken Norton, the third fight. So, I mean, that was a long time ago. So I've been watching this game for a long, long time. And I love it. I mean, it's the best sport out there in the world to me. I love this sport, man. And I'm going to tell you, man, I love your energy, man. And it's always been the same. I remember when we all used to be on the Boxing Voice all the time, man. And I said, King Amin, King Amin of Essex. I thought you was from UK. You know? Tell us about that King Amin, bro. Where did that come from?
So I had some family, like in 2008, it was just totally like arbitrary. 2008, I had ran into, it was at a funeral. Some relatives had come to town. We Jamaicans, so Jamaicans is everywhere. Right. So I run into them, and in my mind, I got this perception everybody's tea and crumpets, the UK, and just getting an understanding of how deep the diaspora is. I'm like, yo, like not only do we travel from, you know, the continent of Africa to Jamaica, we in the UK, we in the United States. And I said, just being able to connect that lineage, you know what I'm saying? I'm already connected from my peoples, the Yoruba and Nigeria, all the way through Jamaica, all the way through Cuba, United States. So, you know, connecting with them directly, you know what I'm saying? And being able to, you know, vibe with them, I got a better sense of the boxing community too over there. Like over there, it's crazy. Man,
everybody like us over there. That's crazy, man. They love and they support their fighters, man.
Passionately.
Support their fighters, man. I mean, and I love how they support their fighters, man.
And so the other convenient thing too is the time zones. Like when I found out and I got that connection, I'm talking to family members, I'm able to travel a little bit, and I'm like, oh, and I realized the time zone different. I'm talking like, yo, you mean to tell me all of their fights is on in the daytime for us?
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. So I had to get into it. I could, you know what I'm saying? You know, it just became, so just that family connection and then the boxing connection. I'm in the community with the family, but I'm in the boxing community. It's like, it's only right to represent. And my part of my whole, besides just watching over here, you know, we grew up off, you know, Friday night fights, even Tuesday night fights on USA. When we was even younger, and me even younger on ABC, you know what I'm saying? Saturday night sports and all of that stuff. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
And Friday night fights, yeah.
Come on, man. You know, so just that said, man, the King of Essex, man, all that means is I make it my duty. I make it my domain. Wherever boxing is, I'm on top of it. I'm the ruler of it. I got to. It's up under my thumb. It's in my jurisdiction. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, Jay Hardcore, thank you for joining me. I'm going to take us out of here. You cannot become great without great work, and it is great work working with you, brother. Until next time.
Iron shopping.
We out of here.
Out of here.